All right, we are recording. We got Benjamin Robinson, right? Benjamin Robinson, Ben Robinson.
Robison, yeah,
Yeah, with us today.
Robison, so people say it right,
Gotcha.
but yeah,
And I was trying to look you up before our conversation. Are you with a company called Ameripolish?
yeah. So I'm with Ameripolish. We're a manufacturer. We produce, guards, sealers, densifiers, have our own tooling line. But I came from the contracting side of things. So we had a family business
Gotcha.
started long time ago. But yeah, started polishing with my dad when I was 12 years old and have been doing this ever since.
Huh. Just like me, in a sense. In
Yep.
a sense. I was wondering about that because you told me last night that you'd been doing it for roughly 12 years or so, and you look like you're about 25. So that's probably about right then, right?
Yeah, I'm only 23, so I started doing this at 11 years old.
Yeah, yeah, I gotcha. So my dad, he
Yep.
did the same thing. He started it was more of a floor refinishing company, like stripping and waxing back in the
Mm.
80s. And so when I was old enough to really kind of go out with them and do the work, I started working with them. And I think from roughly about age 10 or so, like every Friday, every Saturday, like if he had work, I was going with him. And then on the summers, I was always working with him from there on out. And then we I bought him out a few years back, and then we after he retired and I had the company, we bought some grinders and we got started into grinding. So I've only been doing the grinding and epoxy and polishing part of the business for probably about 3 years now.
Yeah.
So where are you originally from?
Uh, Born in Colorado, moved to Arkansas so we could, well, I guess so my dad could kind of save the family business.
Hmm.
That's when we got into polishing. So lived in Arkansas for the past 12, 13 years.
Hmm.
Um, then moved up to NWA, Northwest Arkansas from Northeastern Arkansas. And now I'm out in Pittsburgh.
Okay. Did the family move to Pittsburgh, or was that just a you thing?
No, that's just me. The position for Ameripolish was the Northeastern Territory,
Gotcha.
Kentucky all the way through Maine is what I.
Gotcha. So are you doing more, pretty much more the distributing and oversight and less of the actual working these days?
Yeah, I'm more just, we got, side projects that'll come up. I can go out and make content on those for Ameripolish products.
Mhm.
We still have the family business rolling and all that too, so I'll go help them out. But yeah, for the most part, just doing sales. But I do miss the contracting side and
Yeah.
all the crazy that always came with that.
Oh yeah, there's never a dull moment, that's for sure. There's always something. How'd your
Yeah,
dad get into it?
yeah. The nightmares still on. Um, he was in regular flooring first, and then one of our good buddies, a contractor in Jonesboro, they're with Ramsons. They just told us, "Hey, you've got to get into this. You guys are already this deep in the flooring.
Hmm.
We're going to have a huge market for it." So they fronted him enough to buy a grinder and his first set of diamonds.
Hmm.
And so I go to school, go to baseball practice, and then go work nights with him until like 2 in the morning with an old school big 480 volt Lavina, first machine we ever had. And it
Hmm.
was hell. It was terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it got us here. So
Yeah. So your dad's still running the business back in Arkansas?
no, so he actually he moved to New York City in
Goodness.
2020. Yep. And
That's a good
he's
time to move to
in the
New
city.
York, right in the middle of COVID.
Yeah, no kidding. I couldn't believe that he did it. And he's a musician, so he wanted to go be around the music scene as well as there's never not going to be work in that area. So but yeah, he still polishes. It's kind of its own branch now. We've grown it enough to where it's got a pretty steady flow. But yeah, so in Pittsburgh, we're right the spot that we picked when we moved out here. Got an offer that we couldn't resist on renting a house for 16 months. So we hopped on it. Never saw the house before we moved in,
Hmm.
and within a week, packed everything up and dipped out. So that was a hell of a time making that happen.
Wife and a girlfriend, or by yourself, or?
Girlfriend for now,
Hmm.
and then we've got a few dogs and a few cats.
Yeah.
So that's always fun.
You like it in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, it's gorgeous out here. It's a lot different than Arkansas.
Yeah, it's different than
It's
the South. It's
definitely
a different environment.
yeah, it's everybody's been super nice and super welcoming. And the city, the actual downtown is just gorgeous.
I always enjoyed. I haven't spent much time in Pittsburgh per se. I've been through it a couple of times, but just going up north, or even to where like the older cities are, like the really older communities, and just how they are set up differently than they are down here. I don't know. I like how they set things up like that. They're always bigger houses. They're It's hard to explain, but I've always
Yeah,
liked them.
it's a weird it's definitely a weird change. I know there's a lot of little townships, especially in the Northeast, everywhere, where the houses are all stupid, stupid old, crumbling apart, but still people manage to just be hanging out in them nonstop. I mean, it's been pretty cool to see just all the history out here that
Yeah.
it just hasn't stopped. But the concrete sucks. Working on these floors is terrible.
So I just talked to a guy yesterday, um, that was in Kansas City, and he was saying Kansas City roughly has the hardest concrete there is. He says if your grinders and your diamonds can work in Kansas City, they'll work anywhere.
Yeah, I agree with him. We did a lot of work in Kansas at one point, and they're pouring stuff 5,000, 7,000 psi, and
Hmm.
then burning the cream in, and it's getting through it is insane.
Yeah. And he was saying that there's the freezing and the thawing, and then the freezing and the thawing, and the freezing and the thawing. So,
Yep.
yeah, they they make it harder than it is anywhere else in the country.
Yeah.
So down here, like down in Tennessee and Georgia, where I'm at, I've pretty soft actually. Mostly everything I've ever come into is pretty soft. Like I said, I'm fairly new in the concrete grinding industry, so I still have entry level entry level grinders. I'm running uh Honda Motor Edco.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
old school stuff. I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
it.
Yeah, it's old, and I have two of them, and one of them I pulled the motor off of, and I'm putting a propane motor Kawasaki on there.
Yeah.
So that's a little project of mine. That way I can run it inside without killing myself.
We had a guy one time. Oh, this was terrible. But we were doing a job in Memphis. It was probably 30,000 square feet. And
Hmm.
this was with our old school Lavina's big 480. So he parked the generator in the warehouse. Um, Forgot that it's a big diesel generator,
Hmm.
no def system, nothing. It's putting out all this soot, and he shut the garage doors on himself
Oh no.
and starts getting lightheaded. He's running alone.
Hmm.
So he starts getting lightheaded. He goes outside, passes out. Somebody finds him, calls 911, and he's getting airlifted next
Oh
thing.
goodness.
And so that was a big day on. We never put the generators inside, none of
Yeah.
that.
I Mine, I haven't really I've done one indoor job with it. Anytime I have to do anything indoors, I usually rent one from a buddy of mine, or I'll rent one from like a Sunbelt or something like that. I don't like to do that, and in fact, getting to the point where um, I need a planetary, and I'm getting to that point, but I'm not there just yet because you know how expensive they are.
Oh
Like
yeah, it's
if
a
like
new machine's 25 grand.
yeah, if you don't have like if you don't have the business to pay for it, there's no reason. Yeah, so I'm getting there, but I did run my Edco and we were a local contractor was remodeling a duplex, and it was on a concrete slab, and someone had put carpet down, glued it down, ripped it up, put carpet down, glued it down, ripped it up, and so there was just the concrete was disgusting underneath, and he wanted to put LVP, and so he just wanted it smoothed out. And I thought, well, there's enough windows here. There's a bunch of doors. I can set up some fans and I can just run this thing inside. I don't have to rent a machine, or I don't have to use my 9-inch edger, to do the whole thing.
Yeah, for sure.
So we did fine. I ground the entire apartment, the side of the duplex that we were doing. I did the whole thing except for the back bedroom. The back bedroom had one very little window, and I couldn't get a cross breeze in there. And I ran that thing for probably 3 minutes, and I said, "Nope, I'm done," because I started getting dizzy in there, and
Uh, I'll
so
tell you this thing. Oh, one of these, dude, these little carbon monoxide monitors,
yeah.
best thing in the world. I mean, I keep that on my hip all the time. But
Hmm.
yeah, it can
Yeah,
be a
those are
problem.
good. Those are good to have. The good thing about that's the whole reason I have I have a constant influx of propane buffers or burnishers. I have constantly going through my garage. I buy them, I sell them, I buy them, I junk them, I buy them, I tear them apart, and I rebuild them. I do all kinds of stuff with them. So I
Yeah.
came across a good deal. One of these Edcos with the Honda motor on it. I think I gave 150 some dollars for it off eBay. And even
Damn,
after
that's pretty good.
yeah, even after shipping, I think I was into it for a total of like 350 bucks, even shipped to my house. So and then four bolts to take it off the frame, take the motor off the frame, and I got I got the motor ready to go, and I got the clutch. I ordered a brand new clutch to put on there. It's ready to go. I'm just finding time to get down there and put it back together, and then
Right.
boom, I have something I can run indoors, and it's also more horsepower than the Honda. They're quieter than the Honda, and it can it's just a better running motor.
Yeah.
But
The whenever Lavina went and swapped out, they were running, I don't know, the VF 6000 or something like that, the older
yeah.
propane motors.
Hmm.
Or maybe that's the newer one, but they switched out. As
Hmm.
soon as they did that, all three of our older Lavina grinders crapped out, and we had to get motor swaps for all three of them.
Yeah.
So that was probably 20 grand. But
Hmm.
I mean, like you were saying about needing a planetary, it really does speed everything up. It gives you a better product too.
Yeah, yeah. No, 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 for sure. It gives you a smoother surface, more even surface, and you're getting more surface area done.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
well, around here, like I can do a two-car garage. I can grind a two-car garage in less than an hour with my Edco. It's just, it's just a lot of work.
Yeah, it is. And you're having to sit there, swing it back and forth,
You gotta,
try to keep highways out of it.
you gotta rock it back and forth. And,
Yep.
but are you familiar with Dytech?
No, I don't think so.
They make grinders and well, you're familiar. You do a lot of polishing. Are you familiar with Eagle Stone Core burnishers, the blue
Yeah, I've
ones?
heard of them.
That's the same company. Dytech Eagle used to make just floor buffers and floor stripping equipment. And they're right down the road from me. They're like literally 45 minutes from my house. They used to do just that. Then they switched to Eagle Stone Core, and they started doing more like those Aztec refreshers and stuff.
Yeah.
And then at some point in the recent hit past, they sold to Dytech, and now they do full blown grinders. And anyhow, I know some people that work down there, and at some point, I'm going to go down there and buy me one. I have one
Yeah.
picked out. I know which one I want, and I just have to decide I want to come up off that money and do it.
Yeah. And you just got to make sure it's justified before you do.
Yeah. So like right now, my business is like I would say depending on how the year is going, 75 to 85% VCT, and then 15 to 25% concrete, whether it be epoxy or polishing. And so I'm trying to shift that ratio to where it's the other way around.
So for the VCT, you're just doing a lot of stripping and rewaxing, or
Stripping, waxing, scrubbing, buffing, whatever it needs. Like well, the thing with VCT, it's constant maintenance, constant.
oh yeah, it's
It's not
terrible.
just one and done like polishing or even like epoxy is. It's you strip it and then 6 months to a year later you strip it again.
Mhm.
And then if they really care about their floor, you scrub it and you buff it at least once a week, depending on who it is and what their needs are. So there's constant maintenance and constant recurring work, which is nice. That keeps me really
Yeah.
busy.
Yeah, but
But
it's still kind of a pain in the ass though. And so many schools out here, and I've really noticed out here in Pittsburgh and PA, the Northeast, they've got 15, 20 layers of wax
oh yeah,
over their
that's every
tabs,
school.
over the VCT. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, that's every school, and that's the thing. Like schools and a lot of medical. will
Yep.
probably always stay with tile. And I think it's like a health code thing. I
Yeah, I think it
think.
is.
I don't know for a fact. I'm sure someone out there could correct me and let us know. Um, but like retailers are going away from VCT. It's like it's hard to find like a retailer like Walmart as Walmart remodels their stores. Tiles
They're
going out.
using, yeah, they're using all Ameripolish stuff too.
Oh, are they?
So like the maintenance pads, they're using those on the auto scrubber.
Yeah.
And that's a cool system, but um,
Even
yeah,
Dollar
I mean,
General, Dollar General is not doing tile anymore. They're polishing their concrete.
yep,
Once they build a new location, they polish it, or if they remodel an old one, they polish it because it just doesn't make sense to keep paying for floor that no one's upkeeping. Like so, on the retail
yeah,
side, like people that work in the stores, they don't. Most of my work is retail, so like people that work there, they don't care. They're not taking care of it. So
no,
like,
they don't want to do it. If you could just have a machine that does it for them,
yeah,
especially with polished concrete, it's so much easier to maintain. It's the way to go.
yeah.
Kroger, Safeway, Lowe's, Home Depot, everywhere's moving to it.
So Walmart is utilizing your polishing products,
Yeah, it depends on the store and where it's at, but I do know we are. It's
distributing to
it's
them.
been us or it's been Diamond Brush,
Yeah.
that has had that maintenance work. So we're working pretty close, I'd say, with them on just trying to make sure they're getting the right thing for the floor,
Yeah.
and that reflects good on the industry in total, making sure that they're getting the right thing done. And our diamonds are a lot different than traditional tooling. Like normally you'd have your metal grinds first and then move into like a transitional and then into a resin and then guard it and burnish it. But we don't have any resin transfer. Everything that we do is based off of DOI.
Hmm.
Um, so it's a more maintainable floor. It's not going to walk off because you just filled it up with all these plastics. It's
Yeah.
going to stay shiny. It's actually mechanically polished. And it's a cool system. I didn't believe in it before I worked
Hmm.
here. Um, but yeah, I do now.
Yeah. Okay. How how in your transition from being on the contracting side of it to now actually working for a distributor, which if you looking back now, would you continue to stay working with a distributor or would you go back to being a contractor?
Well, I miss the contracting a lot, and
Yeah.
the money of contracting is better
Yeah.
overall. Um,
You're in control.
yeah, and I still pretty much work for myself out here. I cover all these states,
Hmm.
make my own schedule, go out and see whoever I want to. But
Hmm.
being on site, solving all the problems,
Hmm.
seeing a floor go from this is dog crap to a mirror,
Hmm.
that's just always going to be super fun. So, going back to contracting at some point, I think would be great. Um, but on the distribution side too, it's a lot easier. I don't have to deal with machines breaking down,
Hmm.
guys that don't show up, trucks breaking down, just all that, all the little things that add up and beat you down every time.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice to not have to deal with that.
At Ameripolish, do you guys sell the actual machines or just the tooling and the supplies?
Just tooling and chemicals.
Just tooling and chemicals. I gotcha. Do
Yep.
you do epoxy as well, or just the densifiers and sealers and?
No epoxies yet. I don't know that we'll ever get into them,
Hmm. I was
but
talking the same guy I was talking to yesterday at Kansas City. He made a good point, and I've kind of thought about it as well. But when you're still trying to find your niche in the concrete world, um, he said he only does flake floor, epoxy flake floor. He goes, I don't bother with anything else. I don't do any polishing. I don't I don't even do metallic, epoxy metallics. He doesn't do it. Only the flake floor. He says, I decided a long time ago that's what I was going to do, and I just wanted to be the expert in that. And it makes sense if you want to be the expert in it. That's what you do. That's your one thing. So
yeah,
if
I
you're
think it's
sticking with
smart.
polishing, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you find something that you're good at and you're making money, do it.
Hmm.
The one thing that I've seen this happening for a couple of years now, but I'm sure he's doing like a lot of garage floors.
Yeah.
People coming into the polish world, especially new guys, hop in and they're doing these floors for $1 a foot, a dollar
Mhm.
25 a foot, just because they're trying to earn
Mhm.
all the business that they can to get their name out there. But then they're giving guys like us a call to come back and fix it.
Yeah.
You got to be careful with, like you said, if you find something a niche, go do it, but don't put too much dip on your chip
Yeah.
and ruin the name of what the industry really is. You're just taking away from the good guys.
So if there was someone listening who was thinking about getting into polishing and they had like they knew a little bit about the industry and they knew a little bit about this and a little bit about that, but they were thinking like polishing, that's where I want to go. What advice would you give to the new person out there?
Be
That's
patient.
be patient.
Be patient and have a bankroll. Have a
Yeah.
little bit of extra, a little more than you think you need. Sadly, something's always going to go wrong. There's
Mhm.
always going to be an issue, and that's just part of it. Every slab is different. Every piece of tooling that you get is going to work in different ways. There are so many little things about concrete that pop up when you least expect it.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, a good example of this too, not being patient when you're starting a floor. You start with a metal, you got really big scratches. If you're not cutting slow enough, you're not going to get the refinement you need. And you don't know that until you finish the floor, you hit it with the 800, and then you see all these little crescent moon scratches everywhere, and your day and your week and your month is ruined because you get to go back over this floor another 7 times and restart. So
Yeah.
being patient, taking your time, doing it right the first time
If
around.
you, I know every floor is different, and as we discussed already, each type of concrete can be different depending on where you're at and who poured it and how old it is.
Yep.
Just on a generalization, if you were to say 1,000 square foot, how long would it take you to polish? How long should it take someone to polish 1,000 square foot up to 3,000 grit
A day,
a day?
maybe. And so there's a lot of variables in it. How many guys do you have? How many grinders do you have?
Yeah.
You got to cut dry, got to cut wet.
Hmm.
Going dry, and if you're actually doing it the right way, yeah, 1,000 square foot in a day,
Hmm.
very doable. Day and a
Hmm.
half if you're just two guys in one machine.
Hmm. I got you.
If you've got a team of, 4 or 5 guys and two grinders, you should be in and out in 8 hours.
What's your favorite machine?
I like Lavina's.
Hmm.
Those are definitely my favorite. Um, the newer elites, we've got a couple of those. They're fantastic.
Hmm.
I mean, compared to the older stuff, just the way they cut, I think
Hmm.
they did a good job designing the weights into the frame, how it pulls the heads into the floor, doesn't
Hmm.
just float on top of the floor. And then I like CPS too. They're a little bit cheaper, they're easier to maintain.
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, it's really, do you want a Ford or a Ferrari?
Yeah. If
One's
you
got
were
a
gonna,
cup holder and a phone holder, the other one's just bare bones and a workhorse.
so
So,
say hypothetically, you wake up tomorrow, Ameripolish says, "We don't need you anymore, man," and you have to go back to doing your own stuff. You got to go
yeah.
buy some new equipment. What are you buying?
I'm still buying Lavina.
Still buying Lavina.
Yeah.
You gonna go electric? You're gonna go propane.
Propane. All
Propane.
day propane.
Yeah. How
Yeah.
about vacuums? Lavina as well.
Um, I really liked Ermator before
Hmm.
Husqvarna bought them.
Hmm.
Um, and Husqvarna, it's just really hard to get parts for them right now. Nilfisk, I like their vacuums. They've got some good stuff.
Hmm. I
Um,
like Nilfisk for auto scrubbers. Like
yeah.
that's my absolute hands down. Like I don't think like I like Tenet too, but Nilfisk makes the best. Their advanced line, so good.
Yeah, and Tenant's just I think they're a little overpriced. You can go buy the
Yeah.
used ones for cheap, but yeah, again, you're just buying a brand. It's
Yeah.
still the same machine doing the same thing.
I was in the market for my scrubber died. Like what my scrubber that I had for years and years and years was finally just kind of fell apart on me like 2 or 3 years ago. And I had been, I work on these machines as well. And I had finally decided enough is enough. I need something new and I needed it quick. So I reached out to a guy I know that said, "Hey, you got anything for sale?" And he goes, "I got this um, 20 inch Nilfisk Advanced SC 450, 20-inch machine, not self-propelled, just a pad assist. To roll it, you literally tilt it back on its wheels and push it forward. And
Yeah.
I was like, how much do you want for it? And he told me, I thought, all right, I'll buy it because I need it right now, and I'll just use it until I can find something else, and then I'll sell it. I still have that machine. I still use it every day. It is my literal favorite machine. It's tiny. It gets in and out of tight spaces. You get up tight to a corner. I can put it in and out of the bed of my truck if I wanted to. I don't like to, but I can. I can put it in and out of like my work van really
No.
easily. And I love that little scrubber. I don't. I keep thinking I want to upgrade to like something that's self-propelled, but I've had such good luck with that one. I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to get rid of it because I know if I got rid of it, I would hate it. I would want it back.
Yeah, but you could always just get a backup too. Have a little secondary, keep running that one.
I did. I bought a Tenant T3 and didn't like it. I didn't like how it rolled. I didn't like how it pushed. I didn't like how it scrubbed. I didn't like it felt loose. Like the my advanced like it's tight. Like everything feels tight on it whereas the Tenant felt loose. And I had intended to keep it. Um but a guy I sold some equipment to was looking for one and I went ahead and sold him that one too. So why not?
Well, we've
I'm
still
constantly
got,
moving equipment. Like stuff comes in, I buy it and sell it, and that's my garage is always full of junk.
yeah, just flipping stuff all the time.
Yeah.
We've
Well,
still got an old, I mean, we've had, this was our first scrubber we bought. It's an old Tomcat
yeah,
Magnum.
yeah.
Really old. I just went viral on TikTok actually. It's a video of my buddy. He's holding onto the handles and getting dragged on the floor on his
The big
belly.
square ones.
Yeah, with
Yeah,
just the big square vibrating head.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, that video blew up. It's at like 2 million views, which I think is pretty funny.
On
Just
TikTok.
yeah,
Yeah, I'll have to look that up.
yeah, it's pretty funny. But that machine's been a workhorse. I think we had to replace the batteries in it 3 years ago, and that's the only issue we've ever had, except for having to swap out squeegee heads. Only issue is it doesn't have the pad drive, so there's some stuff you can't really do with it.
Yeah,
But for picking up slurry, it works.
one thing that has been like the saving grace of me is, we've been, my dad's been in business here in Chattanooga for, you know, since the mid 80s. And so he knows everybody. And then a lot of, when I bought him out, a lot of his contacts, like, I just kind of assumed the contacts with him. But one of his, biggest assets was a buddy of his worked for a company called Kelsan. I don't know if you had them out in Arkansas or up there, but Kelsan is like a janitorial. They're a janitorial supply, but they also do like janitorial maintenance. So they'll work on scrubbers and buffers, and they work on grinders. They work on big sweepers. They work on everything. One of his
Mhm.
buddies worked there, and so I got in good with him, and man, he hooks me. like
Yeah,
he like their customers, they'll throw stuff away, and he'll be like, "Hey, do you want this?" And yeah, sure, why not?
just spread the love, huh?
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
also like sometimes I'll come across an issue that I know nothing about, like with the propane equipment, especially the newest ones. They have emissions on there, which are just like the emissions control on a vehicle. They're all electronic, and I don't know anything about that. So sometimes I'll
they're
have an issue with them, and I'll take it to him, and he hooks me up.
they're a pain in the butt
Yeah, they
whenever they start going wrong. And I know a few guys that are not supposed to do this, but they'll just
bypass them.
unhook that emission light and
Mhm.
let the thing run raw.
Yeah. Well, some of them you can do that, and some of them just won't run. Like they
Yep.
have, it has to be. There is a way to bypass it, but I haven't figured it out. But like a lot of the newer ones have O2 sensors in them. Like I have a couple that have O2 sensors, and supposedly there's a way to bypass them. Like you can bypass them on a car. Like if you take the cats off your truck or something like that, you can bypass the O2 sensor to keep your check engine light from coming on.
Yeah. Well, we
So.
just deleted a 2017 GMC.
Mhm.
I mean, that's not cheap. So
Mhm.
it's a lot cheaper to delete a concrete grinder, but
Yeah.
I know on like the CPS, the propane vacs,
Hmm.
it's pretty easy to bypass it. I don't remember how to do it,
Yeah.
but you just take that wire, I think, run it to a ground somewhere, and it ends up doing the same thing.
Yeah. So now that you're in the distribution side of the company and the business, where where's polishing going? Like where's polishing going to be in the next 5 years, 10 years? You think it's going to be everywhere?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be, it's the floor everybody's moving to.
Is that causing inflation? Is the price going down or is the price going up because of demand?
Price has, I'll go back to what I was talking about earlier with contractors getting into it now and
Mhm,
going really cheap.
mhm,
Um, it's been dropping, and the guys who have been in it for so long have been having to drop prices,
mhm,
I think, to compete with the guys that are messing up
mhm,
uh, and doing it super cheap. But I think it's staying pretty steady, especially if people go in and mess up a floor, somebody's going to get called to come and fix it for the right price.
mhm.
Um, and I also see the way that we're polishing changing.
Yeah.
Like instead of the traditional, resin diamonds, pack the floor with plastic, put a band-aid on it,
Mhm.
moving more to actual mechanical polishing all the way throughout.
Yeah.
But people still like that resiny look, that really shiny, glossy pop.
Mhm,
Um, and it still works.
mhm.
But so let me ask you, do you like when you polish, do you like going wet or do you like going dry more?
I've only done polishing. I've done it 3 times. So, like I was
Yeah.
telling you last night, I haven't had very much opportunity to do it. And I, the first time I did it dry from at the very beginning, I did it dry with a Sunbelt grinder by myself. Not by myself, but by myself and a helper. And it went okay, but it was the first time, and I was not asking for help. I was just trying to figure it out as I went along, and it turned out okay. And then the next 2 times I did it wet, once with a Sunbelt grinder and once renting a machine from a buddy of mine. And both of those times seemed to go a little bit smoother, other than the fact that you're cleaning up slurry. You just, which doesn't really bother me considering the fact that I have a background of stripping and waxing floors. So cleaning,
Right.
running a scrubber over it and cleaning up slurry is not that big a deal as long as you clean your machine, you know.
hmm That's something I've struggled with because our this is just in the sales side of things, but our system, it's wet every step of the way.
Hmm.
And it's only 5 steps, so it's quicker.
Only 5.
Yep. It's we've got our diamonds labeled kind of funny, but it's 00, 0, 1, 2, 3. Densifying after the double zeros. Sometimes I'll densify a few times depending on
Yeah.
what the floor looks like. But yeah, it's only 5 steps. It's wet. You can walk with it faster than dry diamonds. Um, but I've
But,
noticed in the Northeast, especially, a lot of people don't like going wet
mhm.
and dealing with, the wastewater in the cities. That's a nightmare.
Oh yeah, I could see
If you're
that.
up in a skyscraper, they don't
Especially if you're
want to.
doing large square footage.
It's quicker doing large square footage, though.
Yeah.
Get a big ride-on scrubber and a power trowel
Hmm.
and just knock it out. You can do 20,000 square foot finished in a day
Hmm.
if you're really just scooting on it.
Yeah. Hmm.
So it's just getting people to move to wet from dry. They've already got $5,000 in vacuums and stuff. They don't really want to have to go get a scrubber
Yeah.
and make that change.
I do like, have you seen, I think it's Concrete Floor Solutions. I think it's them. They have those diamond impregnated pads, and they're like diamond satellite pads, and you can go as low as a 30 grit all the way up to a 3,000 in grit, but you do it,
Mhm.
other than the 1,500 and the 3,000, everything's wet. You just put water on the ground, and you can run it on a slow speed swing machine, a slow speed buffer, or you can run it on a an actual propane buffer just at a low
Right.
speed, and you just keep the floor wet and you run it over it really really slowly. You're not gonna cut rough concrete with it, but I've done it a few times in like Ace Hardware's that that their concrete was sealed a long time ago. Like whenever they built it, they sealed the concrete. I'll use it and we'll grind that sealer off with the 30 grit, and then we'll just repolish it back up from there.
Yeah.
They work really nice, and they're kind of inexpensive for someone who wants to get started. Like it takes time because you can get up to a 27 inch, but you're not really going to get a lot of pressure on a 27 inch. You got to go farther down
Right.
with the way the machines are made. But anyhow, I do like those. It's just a little bit more time consuming, and that's what I kind of cut my teeth on when I started doing polishing was with those satellite uh, impregnated pads.
Sound a lot like ours. And Same with, I mean, if you're running them on a grinder,
Hmm.
you want full RPM,
Hmm.
um, like walking probably lawnmower speed,
Hmm.
but you can run them on a swing buffer. You can run them on a hand grinder, obviously.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, those sound a lot like it. And they're just a pad. I mean, they go from 5 inch all the way up to 20 inch. And it's
Yeah.
just one head, one ring.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
I
that's how
mean,
these are, and they're expensive. They're like $120 for one pad, and you may get 1,000 square foot out of one pad. So they,
ours are a lot cheaper than that.
yeah, these
Just,
kind of these are expensive, and they kind of add up. But I've had good luck with them. I've had good luck where like we did a new construction building a while back, and they just wanted sealer on it, but they did the slab, and then obviously they did all the construction around it. So there was sheetrock, dust, and putty everywhere. And I started just running the scrubber over it just to try to clean it up, and it wasn't doing nothing for it. So I
yeah,
bought
no.
some of those pads, and we did a 30 grit over across the entire thing, and they were super happy with it. And it was so much easier, worked so
Yeah.
great.
Some of my favorite diamonds are Boride, Blue
Hmm.
Star Diamond. You heard of them?
I don't think I have.
They I think they're out of Michigan. I don't know, but they've got a their line is all ceramics for the most part. They've got ceramics, they got their resins.
Hmm.
They're badass diamonds though.
Hmm.
They're dry and wet too. They're versatile. But I used to run those all the time. They've got a cool system.
Gotcha. All right, I'll have to check that out. So, in your opinion, in the 12 plus years you've been doing it, what's the best way to scale your business, to grow your business
Hmm.
from from nothing to something?
It's the relationships.
Mhm.
That's what it is over anything. I mean, you can go out and get the work by bidding,
Mhm.
um, but we've got such a tight knit industry.
Mhm.
Showing up for people, being the guy that answers the phone at 2 a.m. when somebody calls and they
Mhm.
are just in the shittiest situation of their life. Everybody else is going to be helping everybody else to grow.
Yeah.
Um, as far as anything else goes, I'm not a marketing guy.
Mhm.
I'm barely even a sales guy. I'm
Yeah.
still a contractor at heart. So just
So as
showing up, being
so
there for people.
as a contractor, do you have a relationship with competitors, like your neighbors and so to speak? Like, so to give you for instance, like I know pretty much not necessarily everyone that does concrete polishing or epoxy. I don't know everybody that, but in the VCT world, if you live within about 50 miles of me and you do it, I pretty much know you. So if someone calls me and says, "Hey, can you do our floor?" and I can't do it, um, it it costs me $0 to say no, but Greg lives up the road from me. He can probably do it, and
Yeah.
start passing out other numbers. Like I don't look at my competitors for the most part as competitors, especially in the VCT world. I would rather have like, a partner I can kind of count on every now and then.
Yeah, I'm in that same boat. I've always stayed pretty close to the guys that are near us.
Hmm.
If I got a project I can't get to, call them up and say, "Hey, let me sub this thing out to you." And
Hmm.
everybody's kind of
That's a
everybody's
win-win for
helping keep
everybody.
food on the table. Yeah,
Like if I've even told like the big name in concrete here in Chattanooga is Crete Star.
Mhm.
There's two big names really. It's Crete Star and Chattanooga Floor Care. And I know the owner of Crete Star, and I talked to him the other week, and I said, look, I know you guys try to stay in town. Like they really try to stay in town. And I'm like, if you get something where it's like out of town, like I go an hour away from the house. I don't care. I mean,
yeah,
like I told you before, next weekend I'll be in Virginia. So actually, next weekend I'll be in Cincinnati. The weekend after that, I'll be in Virginia. This morning I was in Nashville. So
right. Yeah,
it is what
that's
it is. I go where the
that's
work
how we
is.
used to run it. And we've done stuff nationwide. I mean, from Florida, California, New York, Oregon. I think we've done projects in almost all of the connecting states so far.
Yeah.
And most of that has been because of having good buddies in the industry that say, "Hey, can you guys come help us out on this?" Or,
Yeah.
let me throw
That's
you a bone here and there.
that's nice to have that network. I mean, you just never know. Like I don't like. I mean, there are some people you meet and you're like that do the same thing as you, and you're like, well, that guy's a jerk. There are those people like Jesus, how does that guy stay in business?
Yep.
I don't understand it. But then, at the end of the day, we're all out there trying to make a living, and it is nice, like especially in the flooring industry, it's very rare that you just stay in your hometown working. It's very
Yeah.
rare. So if you're an hour and a half away from your house and your machine decides to explode on you, it's nice to know that, well, I can call somebody that might be able to, if not lend me a machine, perhaps rent me a machine just so I can finish what I'm doing.
Yeah. Especially when you're on those projects out in the middle of nowhere, like
Yeah.
4 hours from home in southern Arkansas, out in the farm fields doing a high school.
Hmm.
You've got nothing, but I can make two phone calls and somebody's gonna get a machine over there to
Yeah.
us. And yeah, a lot of it too feels like everybody knows how tough it can be.
Hmm.
I've had a lot of guys just throw me a bone and be like, "Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about any money or nothing. Just we're here to help out. We want this thing done right." I've seen that happen more times than not.
Well, that's the it, honestly, like when I was thinking about putting this podcast together, and even like I don't know if you saw it or not, but in addition to the podcast, there's also a Facebook group I made for it as well, and that's what it is just basically to make a network for all of us to get together, like to have a
Yeah,
network of guys that we can bounce ideas off of, learn from, and then also teach from, and then also like just create this network in the event. Well, if I'm in Pittsburgh and everything goes haywire, I'll just call Ben.
right. Yeah,
Maybe he can
exactly.
help me.
I think I think it's a great idea. Another thing that I'd kind of like to see out of everybody, trying to think why a good way to put it, but
Less
come
arrogance.
together on say what?
Less arrogance.
Yeah, that's a good one.
There's a lot of it on there. There's a lot. People will post, pictures of their work and the criticism. It's like sometimes maybe it is well deserved. Maybe it is, but sometimes it's like people are learning. Like if you want to
Yeah.
criticize them, maybe give them some constructive criticism. How about constructive, not just criticism?
Yeah, just don't be an ass.
Yeah.
I'll see it on all the time. I'll see the post on there like, all right, who did this one? Who messed up this
Yeah, I've
bad?
seen those a lot.
Yeah.
Which one of you guys did this one?
I
Yeah.
think it's funny the guys though that'll comment on and be like, oh yep, that was me. And you got 20 guys saying, yep, that's me, my bad. Just to
Yeah.
pick on the guy that posted it.
Yeah. Uh,
But it's
I posted a video, I guess 2 months or so ago of me doing a garage, just grinding and epoxying the garage, and I got roasted so bad.
over what?
Just mostly just technique. Like the end
Yeah.
product wasn't bad. Um, it was mostly just technique. And like I said, I'm still fairly new to the game. And so and epoxy is really seasonal here.
Hmm.
So, from like November, December through like March, I'm not really getting anything. The last epoxy job I had done was September of last year, and then my first one this year was in March. Granted,
Jeez.
I don't, I'm not advertising. I'm not trying to get leads. It's just word of mouth. I got plenty of work. I got plenty of VCT
Yeah.
that keeps me busy all the time. Like if I didn't do another, concrete floor for the rest of the year, I'd be fine. I wouldn't like it because I want to do it, and I want to do it because I want to get better at it, and I want to build that side of the business. But anyhow, it was my first garage that I had done in like 6 months. My 16-year-old son went with me, and he helped me, and that was his first time doing it. And so, like, it was meant to be like just a fun, like, hey, look what we did. And I got roasted.
That's
I
funny,
mean,
dude.
absolutely roasted
Uh,
to the point where I'm like, I'm not going to post a video of me doing it again. I'll post it before, I'll post it after. No
yeah.
more videos.
I love posting videos of it. I think it's so much fun making content about this stuff because it's so unique.
Oh, I do too. Like I try to do it. Yeah, I try to release a good video or a good like short or a reel or something or a TikTok at least once a week.
Hmm.
But that that was one thing where I'm like, I got to be more selective on how I present those because I'm not an expert on it yet.
I'd keep posting them though, because even if you're not an expert on it yet, who
No,
cares?
I'm
Yeah,
still gonna
just knock
make
it
it, but I'm
out.
just gonna be more selective with it because I'm not an expert.
Right.
Um, with VCT, I can post pretty much what I do, and I am an expert, and no one's gonna criticize it. There are
Yeah.
people that do because they like to, but for the most part, even if they do, I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yep.
With epoxy, yes, I want the criticism. I want the constructive criticism. I want some feedback. What can I do better? And I got some good learning tips in those roasting comments that that made me feel about that big. But I did learn from it. So the next garage, I did completely, I utilized some of those comments, and it made things a little easier. So that
What were
is
some of those things that you needed to switch up?
basically it was mostly just like manpower, like and I hadn't really thought about it. I was so focused on getting the floor ground down that I really wasn't thinking about what the help was doing.
Right.
So I'm focused on running the grinder. What's my helper doing? And the one thing my 16-year-old son was doing, he was helping kind of keep the hose out of my way,
Yep.
which, in retrospect, yeah, it's a waste of manpower. Like he could be doing something else. And so the next time I did a garage, I didn't use him. I used actually one of my subs that helps me all the time with VCT. And, I got him running the floor grinder, and I went and did the edges. And so that's one thing that kind of helped us, um, kind of helped speed us up a little bit. And then um, I got some advice. This was actually good advice, not just, hey, you suck, dude. Why didn't you do that? It was some advice on some low viscosity crack filler.
That's
So
good stuff.
yeah, and that way you just kind of just put it down in the crack and you're good to go. You don't really have to
Yep.
focus so much on 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 grinding out the crack so much as just pouring it in there and going.
Yeah, and all you gotta do is just trowel it flat and then
Yeah.
you can grind it off if you over pour it and keep rolling that way.
Yeah, man.
We were
So,
doing a we were doing flake in a what was it? It was a water room in a hospital right next to where they're doing dialysis.
mhm,
So we're doing this floor, and I had to take off to go save another project. And my buddy at the time, he was working with me, and so he was going to take on putting the top coat down. It was the last thing we had to do. It was
mhm.
nighttime. He showed up just supposed to be putting down a Spartic top coat. That's it. And he calls me in the middle of it and says, "Hey man, I just ran out of flake." So what? Why would you be using flake? We're just doing a top coat.
So he was flaking the top coat.
Yeah, he was broadcasting into this top coat over the flake
Nice.
we already had done. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. That this had to be done tonight. You just ruined it.
Mhm,
So he ended up fixing it. I had to drive 4 hours back and turn around and cancel what I was going to fix
mhm,
the other direction. And for that fix, what we did, I just had to let it cure out and then pretty much sand down the little border of where he ran out of flake
mhm.
and then just re-top coat that
Yeah.
area. And it looked fine. But it's always little things like that that are out of your control
Yeah.
that hit the hardest. Just not paying attention.
Yeah. Yeah. Someone um asked me a while back about how to get into epoxy flake floors. He does janitorial, like just custodial work, but also does stripping and waxing floors. But he doesn't really have a lot of equipment. And but he was saying he wants to get into concrete floors. He messaged me on Facebook, and my advice was to him was like, um, don't just yet. If you
Yeah.
want to get into it, find someone who's hiring that you can work for part time or full time and make it work with your other work and learn on their dime. Like have them teach you how to do it. That way, when you screw up, it's you have
No,
them to
all on
back
you.
you. You have them to back you up.
Yep.
Make your mistakes while they're paying you.
Yep.
And that's something that I wish I had done. I wish I had done that um, years ago. I wish we would have gotten into concrete floor like 12, 13, 14, 15 years ago.
Yeah, back when everybody else was first starting to hop in it
Yeah,
and
because we are 100% Johnny come lately now at this point.
Yeah.
You know, when all of our work was VCT and then, in retail, and then suddenly these stores start getting remodeled and polishing their concrete, our work starts dwindling. It's like that's when we should have jumped in a long time ago. But it is what it is. Now I'm just playing catch up.
Yeah, and all the work's still coming. I mean, the amount of residential polishes that I've seen, a lot of people building barndominiums now. If residential's your market, you're
Mhm,
always going to have work there. And then, even this little shop and save that I'm parked at right now in Pittsburgh, they're about to remodel their floors.
mhm.
And they're a crappy little grocery store, but they're moving to polished concrete too.
Yeah.
So it's always going to have a market up until every slab's polished, and then you could still sell on the maintenance.
Yeah. Yeah.
But for
Well,
people that are wanting to get into it, one thing that I hate is all these I don't know if you've seen them or not, but the reels and the sponsored ads that pop up on
mhm.
Facebook all the time, TikTok too, on these epoxy floor marketing companies wanting to get you all these
Oh,
leads.
yes.
I can't stand that crap. That is a
Floor
nightmare.
launch, floor AI.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all these different ones. And yeah, that's
I've
it's
had
just a low blow.
I've had one of those has been commenting on a lot of my stuff, like whoever's running it comment on it, and then to the point to where he like started sending me messages, Facebook messages about it, and then sent me another message saying he wanted to be on the podcast talking about it. And that's I
I
think
wouldn't bring the marketing guy on. All he's
so
gonna
far
do is
he's the only one that I've been like I haven't really responded to wanting to have on because like
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like he's full of it. I don't know what it is, and maybe I could be missing out. Maybe he's got the maybe he's got the Holy Grail. I don't know, but I also
Everybody
been
says they
like
do.
I've been anti leads. Like I don't want to pay for leads. I don't want
Yeah.
to. I I realize you have to spend money to make money, and there's a good thing to marketing. But like I like trying to get my stuff organic, and I'm in a position where I can organically afford to wait between jobs and get it. Like my next co my next hold on. My next grinding job is like 2 weeks away. So it's
Yeah.
like, I get it when I can get them. All right,
Most of
well,
our
we are
stuff.
running close on time.
Yeah.
Um, anything you feel like you need to say before we get off here?
Um,
Any nuggets of knowledge you'd like to leave with everybody?
I had something a minute ago. Now I'm just drawing a blank on it.
How dare you?
I know, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, no, unless I can. Oh, I was gonna say, one of the best parts about, and really kind of one of my goals with going from contracting to the manufacturing side,
Hmm.
one, was to get away from a lot of the headache for that time being.
Hmm.
But two, to get in positions like this, getting to know more people in the industry,
Yeah.
being on the backside of the industry and seeing what makes it tick more than anything.
Well, that's going
And
to
just
make you
knowing,
better in the future. Like, say you do go back to doing contracting, you're going to know not only the work, but you're going to know what goes on behind the scenes, and it's going to make you better
yeah,
as a businessman 10 years from now.
yeah, knowing all the relationships and who hates who loves who, and
Mhm.
who's kissing the babies.
Yeah.
That's gonna be something good to know. So,
Yeah.
but at some point, if you're ever out this way, and you want to try out a system that I'm currently selling, or if you ever need help on a project with something else, give me a call, reach out, and we'll make
Mhm.
something happen.
Yeah, let's do it. That's another thing. That's one thing I want to put together in the future. Like, this is probably a couple years from now. It would be nice to do it sooner, but I want to kind of put together something like you remember you may not be old enough to remember, but you might. Do you remember the old show Dirty Jobs?
Yeah, yeah.
Mike
With Mike,
Dirty Jobs,
whatever.
Mike Rowe, and he
Yeah,
would go out and just go on the job site with people. I think it would be interesting to do this, but like an in-person, like on the job site, like just we plan it out. I travel, I go, come to you, and you show me how you do your thing.
yeah. I think that'd be really cool.
I think people would watch that. I think it would be interesting
Yeah, and
to
it's
see how, you know, people in Pittsburgh do it, how you do it in Arkansas to go, Oregon.
go out on.
My wife is from the Philippines,
Oh,
and
really?
And like, I think it would be really cool to like next time we're in the Philippines to try to hook up with one of the flooring companies down there and try to do some stuff with them just to see how they do it down there.
Yeah, I know our international rep Frank. He's an awesome dude, but he down in Mexico, down in just South America. He's always down there, and he said they do it in some crazy ways
Mhm.
down south, and it's always fun for him to go out there and watch how they're running this stuff.
I was in we were in uh we were in one of the airports in China. It was either Shanghai or maybe Hong Kong for a long layover about 5 years ago, 6 years ago. And they the people that worked there, they had this big area sectioned off. They was in one of the hangars, so it was a big, not hangars, one of the gates, and big open area, but they had like a corner of it blocked off with caution tape, and they were over there stripping the floor, and it was probably 2,000 square foot total what they had, but they had. It was so funny to me how they did it, and I took a video of it. I've lost it since then. I wish I still had it, but they had stripper all over the floor, and they took those 8-inch scraper blades, and about five guys were just going to town scraping the floor with razor blades
Jeez,
to, to
that's a
strip the
lot.
floor. And it's like, and there was another guy that was there with a scrubber just sucking everything up afterwards. I'm like, a black pad would just make this job 1,000 times easier for all of you guys. Just put
Yep.
that black pad on there, you're good to go. But it's funny how seeing how other cultures do things. But anyhow, Ben, we're gonna get off here. How can people get in touch with you?
Um, my Facebook page is always a good way. It's got all my
Mhm.
contact info. Ameripolish's website has it.
Mhm.
Um, I can go ahead and give out my cell number if you want while we're here, my work cell.
Why don't you message me links to your information and I'll just put it in the show
Throw it in the
notes at the end.
description.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, that works. But yeah, I'll answer anytime, whether it's night or day. My ringer's always on, and I like the crazy problems that come with all this. So,
All right, you heard it. You heard it from the mouth. Bring
yep.
all your problems to Ben.
Yeah, and just don't bring your relationship issues to me. Keep it about concrete.
There you go. I call him in the middle of the night while you're drinking. That's what he
Yeah.
likes.
Hey, I do that to people all the time, so
Yeah.
who cares?
All right, buddy. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, have a good one.
You too.